Intro. Elon Musk's fascination with Mars is no secret, but did you know he's also been exploring Antarctica? It seems that the South Pole holds more mysteries than we ever imagined. In a surprising turn of events, the Tesla boss and a few other scientists spotted a massive, mysterious object moving across the icy continent. What could it be and why is it in Antarctica? Let's dive into this mystery. Initially, when the object was first spotted, nobody thought much of it. Sure, it was large, and about half of it was covered in ice, so many people assumed it was just an iceberg. However, when the object began to move and the ice melted, it became evident that it was something else entirely. This sparked the curiosity of scientists who immediately set to work on unraveling the mystery. As research progressed, their perception of the object shifted, and they all came up with different theories about what it could be. Interestingly, this isn't the first time that strange objects have been found in Antarctica. In 2022, scientists discovered an entire ecosystem thriving beneath the icy ground of the continent. While studying the continent, they stumbled upon a dent in the satellite image of the Larsen ice shelf. Upon drilling a hole in the ice, they found something beyond incredible: a vast ecosystem of microorganisms living below the surface. This massive subterranean habitat was filled with thousands of tiny crustaceans known as amphipods, living 500 meters below the surface. But that's not all. Scientists also discovered phytoplankton blooms living beneath the surface of the polar region. This discovery shook the scientific community because, before this, they thought it was impossible for phytoplankton to survive in such harsh conditions. There wasn't enough sunlight for the phytoplankton to create enough energy to survive, or so they thought. But with the discovery of the phytoplankton, scientists found that it was possible for algae to survive with as little as 1% of the available light on the surface. Antarctica is no stranger to incredible discoveries, but some of these findings push the limits of what we once thought possible. A few years ago, a team of scientists aboard an icebreaker ship stumbled upon an astonishing sight in the Weddell Sea, an impressive horde of about 60 million icefish nests, each with a protective parent fish keeping a close watch. The nests were about 10 inches apart, and the massive clusters stretched across an area of around 93 square kilometers. But that's not even the most mind-blowing discovery from the icy continent. Have you heard of the Gamburtsev Mountains? Despite being located beneath the ice sheets, these mountains are a true wonder of nature, and they're named after the Russian scientist Grigory A. Gamburtsev. The range spans a whopping 1,200 kilometers and towers to a height of 3,000 meters, or roughly one-third the size of Mount Everest. Believe it or not, researchers have yet to physically lay their eyes on these underground giants. Their existence was discovered through magnetic and gravitational readings obtained from data as far back as 1958. While scientists have been able to study the mountains from their base, they still have not uncovered how or why they formed, and they're baffled by their continued existence, as there are no signs of tectonic plate movement in the region. Strange things in Antarctica. Another fascinating discovery is the presence of a dry valley in Antarctica. As difficult as it might be to believe, there is a desert in Antarctica. It might account for only 0.2% of the continent's surface area, but it's incredibly massive. Rainfall is incredibly sparse there, and it even has massive sand dunes as high as 70 meters. The most exciting part is that these dunes move an average of 1.5 meters per year. But wait, it gets even weirder. Antarctica also boasts a river, and not just any river, an underground one. Scientists discovered it using ice-penetrating radar equipment mounted on aircraft. Initially, they thought they had found 4 different underground rivers flowing independently of each other, but it turned out to be just one massive river. Incredibly, the river is over 300 miles long, longer than even the Thames in England. Now you might be thinking, what's the big deal about an underground river? Well, here's the thing. If the region that contains the river melts due to climate change, it could raise global sea levels by a staggering 14 feet, with potentially catastrophic consequences. But wait, there's more. Antarctica's Thwaites Glacier, ominously nicknamed the Doomsday Glacier, is in peril. Researchers have revealed that the glacier is barely attached to its base. It's like an upside-down wrecking ball hanging by a thread. If it detaches completely, there will be a rapid movement that could increase the rate of ice loss across the continent and potentially submerge many parts of the world. Scientists have even found parallel grooves on the sea floor surrounding the glacier, left behind from its last movement, which could have occurred centuries ago. But it's still moving whether we notice it or not. As we delve deeper into the vast and mysterious terrain of Antarctica, we stumble upon yet another mind-boggling discovery. At the furthest point of our expedition, we come across a mammoth hole that stretches over an area as vast as the country of Ireland. These openings, known as polynyas, are not uncommon occurrences in the frigid waters of the polar regions. However, this particular one, which first appeared in 2017, has grown in size exponentially, spanning over 70,000 square kilometers. The scientific community has been baffled by this peculiar phenomenon, and several theories have been proposed to explain its formation. Some argue that it's the result of warm water surges brought about by ocean currents that erode the ice shelf surface. Others contend that it could be due to the presence of marine mammals below the icy forest who might have carved out these holes to access air. But what is the connection between this massive hole and the enigmatic object that Elon Musk and his team discovered? As mentioned earlier, the first assumption was that it was an iceberg. That seemed to be the most logical explanation, given that Antarctica is predominantly made up of ice formations. Moreover, the world's giant iceberg A76A had recently broken away from the Ron ice shelf. Measuring a staggering 84 miles in length and 16 miles wide, it drifted across Antarctica, eventually heading toward the tumultuous waters of the Southern Ocean's Drake Passage. However, as the researchers took a closer look at the object, they began to notice certain anomalies that did not fit the iceberg hypothesis. For instance, there were skid marks and grooves on its surface that were difficult to account for. Additionally, it was not transparent like most icebergs but rather bore a distinctive shade of black. Conspiracy theories. These observations sparked a flurry of speculation and theories, with some suggesting that it could be a military craft. To many, this might seem like a far-fetched conspiracy theory. However, it's only partially impossible given the geopolitical history of the region. Governments and military agencies around the world have a long-standing tradition of conducting classified operations in remote locations away from prying eyes, and what better place to test out cutting-edge technologies than in the desolate and unforgiving expanse of Antarctica? On June 23, 1961, the world's most powerful nations came together to sign the Antarctic Treaty, which stipulated that they would relinquish their right to establish a military presence in Antarctica unless it was for scientific research purposes. Interestingly, it was the United States that was responsible for catalyzing the need for such an agreement. Following World War II, the U.S. attempted to lay claim to the continent and conducted a military expeditionary force called Operation High Jump, which involved 4,700 personnel and numerous vessels. The objective was to train military personnel to withstand extreme cold and test various materials. But this move incited anger from other countries. There were also concerns about using Antarctica for military purposes. After much negotiation, 12 countries, including Australia, Argentina, Belgium, Chile, France, Japan, New Zealand, Norway, South Africa, the Soviet Union, the United Kingdom, and the United States, ultimately signed the treaty. Meteorite theory. Scientists began exploring other potential explanations for the moving object and eventually concluded that it wasn't merely ice. Meteorites are fragments that break off asteroids, which are small rocky bodies that orbit the Sun. A large number of asteroids can be found between the orbits of Mars and Jupiter. However, given that Mars is close to Earth, asteroids occasionally collide with the planet. On average, asteroids with a diameter of 1 kilometer collide with Earth every 500,000 years, while those with a diameter of 5 kilometers do so every 20 million years. The most recent asteroid explosion occurred over Antarctica around 430,000 years ago. Reports indicate that the asteroid should have impacted the surface of Antarctica, but instead, it exploded in the sky, leading to what is now known as an airburst. This airburst caused several shrapnels of space rock to cover the surface below the explosion. It's important to note that airbursts are more destructive than regular asteroid crashes, as they can affect a much larger area compared to when an asteroid crashes into a specific location. Antarctica has not been inhabited by humans in the past 500,000 years, which means that the airbursts and meteorites from the asteroid were mostly intact. If this theory holds up, it could be the first of many others. The strange color of the object was likely the result of a couple of factors. The asteroid that exploded over Antarctica was 150 meters wide, and when it exploded, it happened very close to the surface. This caused the nickel and magnesium-rich fragments to react with the Antarctic ice, resulting in the strange color of the meteorites. Scientists have settled for this theory for now, and they're considering that the reason it went undetected for so long was because of the ice that covered it. The strange marking on the object was due to its climate and the fact that it had stayed underwater for so long. Conclusion. Some people have expressed their doubts, but the most straightforward theory is often the most accurate. It's similar to how scientists once thought they had discovered a pyramid in Antarctica, only to find that it was actually a mountain worn down by thousands of years of erosion. The truth will eventually be established when enough research has been done. In the meantime, what do you think the object is? Is it a meteorite, a military craft, an iceberg, or something else entirely? Let us know in the comments section below, and remember to like this video and subscribe for more content. Thank you for watching.